Hi, I'm Randy Morse of the BC Rural Centre. Did you know that over 80% of North Americans today live in cities? That's right. In fact, 83% of Canadians and Americans now live in cities with populations of 30,000 or more, which of course means that only 17% of us live in small towns. This is creating problems on both sides of the ledger. In one case, our cities are becoming stressful, crowded, expensive, and in some cases polluted and dangerous as well, while at the same time our smaller towns are beginning to shrink and atrophy, and in some cases even die. So, because the BC Rural Centre is focused on working with small communities to help them succeed, we felt this was something that was worthy of focus. So we decided to launch a contest, and we called it Escape the City. Very simply, we invited millennials living in major cities to tell us why they might consider moving from the big city they were living in to a small town. We held our breath because we weren't sure if there were in fact that many young creatives living in our major urban centers who might be interested in moving to a small town. To give the contest the best possible chance of success, we looked for a place, a small town, that has those attributes we know from research millennials are looking for when considering a move from the big smoke to a small town or village. So what are those attributes? Number one on the list, a lively cultural scene. Next, high-speed internet. Thirdly, an entrepreneurial culture. Number 4 on the top 5 reasons why millennials might consider moving from a city to a small town, restaurants and bars. And number 5 on the list, perhaps surprisingly or perhaps not so surprisingly, craft breweries. We didn't have far to look when it came to finding a town that had those attributes. We found it in the small village of Kaslo, population 938, tucked along the shores of fjord-like 140-kilometer-long Kootenay Lake. Kaslo had everything a small town seemed to need to have a chance of attracting millennials. So when the dust settled, we received hundreds of entrants for our Escape the City contest. Hundreds of people telling us they absolutely wanted to consider moving from the city that they lived in to a small town. Not just any small town, but in this particular case, Kaslo. We narrowed it down to 4 finalists and then 2 winners, the Stober family from Victoria, British Columbia, and the Longvals family from Calgary, Alberta. In the video that follows, we're going to follow the Stobers and the Longvals as they discover Kaslo during 4 nights and 3 days of intensive immersion into local life. And at the end, we'll assess whether or not they decided, after their stay in Kaslo, that they were actually interested in making a move from their respective big cities to a small town, to escape the city.
We're really keen to see if the school, how integrated it is with the community and just how connected we can be with our kids when they're in the school system as members of the community, which is something, it's trickier to do in the bigger cities. So that's kind of our number 1 priority.
Okay, let's go have a look.
All right.
Thank you.
Right on. For many young urban families considering a move to a small town, the quality of the local school can be of crucial importance. Does it have a caring, competent staff? Is there a culture of connection with parents and the wider community? Answers to these questions can be decisive in deciding whether or not to make the move. In the case of the Stober family, including their 2 young daughters, and the Longvals, who hope to start their family in a small town, Kaslo's J.V. Humphreys School pressed all the right buttons. The absence of big box stores and shopping malls can be more than outweighed by a vibrant small town walkable downtown core featuring outdoor markets,
a lively street culture, small shops run by friendly, knowledgeable owners and staff, and a critical mass of amenities and services. These all rank as important factors when young urbanites consider a move to a small town. Kaslo Mayor Susan Hewitt led the Stobers and Longvals on a tour of Kaslo's bustling downtown, drawing rave reviews from the visitors. When young urban families look for a rural landing spot, they place great value on well-maintained play and recreational facilities and access to other young families. A lively cultural scene is the number one thing young urbanites look for when considering a move to a small town. With over 60 nonprofit organizations, Kaslo's volunteer-driven cultural scene is astonishing for such a small, remote community. The world-renowned Kaslo Jazz Etc. Festival, the art exhibits and live performances at the historic Langham Theater, and the historic SS Moye, the world's largest existing sternwheeler, are complemented by the authors and musicians who call Kaslo home and often perform in local restaurants and bars. Big city life can be alienating. In a small town like Kaslo, neighbors become friends, and friends more like family. Here, neighborhood potlucks are a common event, bringing together a multi-generational gathering of locals who, despite their varied backgrounds, share a common love of and appreciation for their lovely mountain village. During their Kaslo stay, the Stobers and Longvals had a chance to unwind and enjoy a typical Kaslo neighborhood gathering, a great opportunity to ask locals what life is like here in a relaxed environment.
This lake is incredible. The scenery is amazing, and it's a great day to be on the lake, even though it's a little cooler. Still doesn't change any of the scenery, and we're happy to be here.
Yeah. And it's no one else is up here. So it's a good it's a great day. There's no one else out.
And you also invite me.
That's
Right.
You did invite
Right.
us.
John Muir once wrote, "Keep close to nature's heart and break away once in a while. Climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirit clean." In a rapidly urbanizing world, access to astoundingly beautiful nature is a huge asset for many small British Columbia towns. We took the Stobers and Longvals on a Kootenay Lake cruise on one of Kaslo Shipyard's unique houseboats. We sailed for several hours on the 140-kilometer-long natural lake tucked between the soaring Purcell and Selkirk Mountains, an amazing experience for city folk. Just before the cruise, I asked the Longvals to sum up their visit, beginning with their favorite thing about their time in Kaslo.
Meeting the folks in the community. It's just seems like just a great big party continuously. Everyone's just talking, meeting on the streets and joking around, and then heading to people's place for potlucks after, for dinner and stuff. So that's, for me, that's the highlight.
Yeah, feeling so welcomed. It's been so great seeing the music and the culture is just thriving. We can't wait seeing the school. It's just been such a great experience, and we can't wait to get here as soon as we can and escape the city.
Okay, so you tour from Calgary.
Yeah.
Inevitably, when you go home, people are going to ask you about your visit, right? And so, what are you going to tell them when they ask you, let's say, what's with you being excited about a town of 1,000 people in the middle of nowhere? What are you going to answer?
I think it comes back to going to the simple life and kind of just bringing ourselves back to a life where we can be sustainable and really coming to a community where you really feel that you're a part of it and that you're making a difference and that everybody's there caring and just working towards this life of living in the mountains and nature, and it's something that is truly magical, and you can't quite experience that in the city life.
I think what's great about a small community, like when you're in a big community, everyone can have like a small impact, and eventually you make a big impact. But in a small community, everyone can have a big impact. And I just really like those opportunities. Everywhere you go, there's opportunities to help and be a part of the community and be a part of this community that you're constantly building, right, and improving and thinking of new ways of creating a community.
Okay, so in the end, if you could say one thing, and you can, because I'm about to ask you to people who are viewing this, who might be anywhere in the world, about Kaslo, what would that one thing be? What would you tell our viewers right now?
This is a world-class destination, world-class people, world-class artisans. Everything here is world-class. It's impressive, it's really impressive.
Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy your voyage.
Thank you.
There you have it, folks. 2 families, perhaps poised to escape the city. Time will tell whether the Longvals and or the Stobers actually decide to move to Kaslo. But in the meantime, there's no question that this town has reaped some significant benefits from the contest already. For example, hundreds of people have gone out of their way to describe why they would like to move here, and the village has their contact information, which could of course be extremely valuable. Public attention is being focused on Kaslo in a way that's almost unheard of. And perhaps most importantly, this contest has served to galvanize locals around a newfound sense of civic pride and promise and hope for the future. Going forward, the BC Rural Centre is certainly interested in working with more communities to make this sort of thing happen elsewhere, not just in British Columbia, but across rural North America. Interested? Simply contact us at info@bcruralcentre.org, visit our website, or give us a call at area code 250-353-3016. This is Randy Morse. Thanks for watching.